By the end of this video, you will learn how to push notifications in your Flutter app from Firebase, and we will also learn how we can handle background and foreground notifications, and at the end we will be adding an on tap functionality. When we tap on the notification, it will open a new screen with the payload. So let's start. First, we need to come to our Firebase console, and from here we are going to create our new project. Let us name the project as push notification. For now, we don't need Google Analytics, so let's just disable it. Now our Firebase project has been created inside our Firebase console. Let us select the platform as Flutter. Now, first step, we need to have Firebase CLI installed in our system. If you don't have Firebase CLI inside your system, then visit this link as provided and install Firebase CLI using npm, and then perform Firebase login, and then you need to create a new project. You can also use Flutter create command to create a project. In my case, I've already created a Flutter app. It is a simple Flutter app where we have a material app, and inside we have only one route as home page, and inside home page we have an app bar and a text in center. So it somewhat look like this. So this is the app that we have already written. Now we are going to push notifications in this app. We need to click next here, and here we need to activate Flutter CLI. Just copy this command and open the terminal inside VS Code and paste the command. Now it has just activated Flutter CLI. And next we need to configure our project. Just copy this and paste it inside your terminal. Now in our case, we'll only be using this for Android, so we are only selecting Android. Now our app has been registered. You will find a Firebase options.dart file inside our left folder that it has created. Now we are going to be using this Firebase options.dart file inside our main.dart, but before that we need to install two packages. Let us use Flutter pub add, and our first package will be Firebase core, and our second package will be Firebase messaging. Install both the packages. Just verify inside your pubsec.yaml file that both the packages are installed, Firebase core and Firebase messaging. And then we need to come inside our main.dart file, click on next. Here it is asking us to initialize our Firebase app. Just copy this, and first we need to make this main function asynchronous, and then we need to paste the code, import Firebase from Firebase core and default Firebase options from the Firebase options that Flutter CLI has created for us. Now let's stop the app and run the app again. So here we are getting an error. We need to have the minimum SDK to 19, otherwise it will not work. For that, visit Android, inside app build.gradle. Here you will find minimum SDK version, change it to 19. Now run the app again. Now we missed one step. We need to also add widgets Flutter binding dot ensure initialized. Otherwise, it will not initialize all the widgets. Just restart the app, and now our app is working fine. Now let us first add background notifications for our app. For that, first we'll be creating a file. It will be push notifications .dart. Here we'll create a class, name it as push notification. Here we'll create a static final variable. We are naming this as Firebase messaging. And it will be Firebase messaging dot instance. And now here we will create an initialization function where we are going to request notification permissions from the device. For that, request notification permission. It will be a static future function. It will be a static future function. We are naming this as init. Make it async. And now here we will wait, and Firebase messaging dot request permission. Here it accepts many parameters. We can provide, basically these are the default values that it provides. If you want, we can also modify this. Depending upon your need. Suppose in our case, we want the announcement to be true, and it should have a badge, and it should have a sound. And depending upon you, that what you want. Now here we will also be generating a token. Get the device FCM token. The token is unique for every device, by which we identify the device uniquely. So here we'll be taking a token. It will be await. So it will be inside this init function. Await Firebase messaging dot get token. It will get the FCM token for the device, and then we can print that FCM token. $token. So now if we call this init function, it will request the permission first, and it will generate the FCM token that we'll be using now for testing. Now inside our main function, after our Firebase initialization is done, we'll be calling the push notification class, and call the init function. It will initialize Firebase messaging and generate the FCM token. And now we need to add a function to listen to background changes. Let's name this app. This will be a future function. Let's name this app as Firebase background message. and this function will be accepting a message of return type of remote message, make it async, and then if message dot notification is not equal to null, it means that we have received some notification. We can print that some notification received, and after our initialization is done, we can call this Firebase listen to background notifications. We'll call Firebase messaging dot on background message, and here we will pass the function that we have created, Firebase background message. Let's stop the app and run the app again. And now we need to go to our console now. Here, go to engage, and from here select messaging. Now from here we need to create our first campaign. Click on create your first campaign, and for now we are only going to be focusing on sending notifications inside our app. So select the first option, click on create. Here let's give the title as sample notification and give the description as testing. Click on next. Here we need to select our app target. This was the name of our app. Click on next, schedule it for now, and we can enable the sound here. And since we have added the background handler, means our app will receive notifications only in background. So let us just run our app in background. Now let us click on review and publish. Now let's wait until the notification arrives. Now here you can see some notification received, and here we are getting the notification. Now here you are getting that this notification that we recently sent it. Now when we are clicking on this, it will open our app, but what we can do, we can pass a payload and open into a new page. So for that, let us first create a message page. Let's name it as a message. And here it will have a scaffold. And we can give it an app bar that will have a title as your message. And inside our body, we will show the payload that has been passed. For that, we will receive some arguments. We can use final data is equal to model route dot of context dot settings dot arguments. We need to add a null check here. Now the arguments that we will pass inside our message stateful widget, we will be passing the payload here mainly. And now our return type will be as remote message, and from here we can just display the payload or data dot, and here for now let us just display it as string. We need a text widget, and inside that we'll display it as string. Also wrap it with center. Now we have created a message widget. We need to add this inside our route on background notification tapped. We'll be using Firebase messaging dot on message open dot listen. Here inside event will pass our remote message, and if our message dot notification is not equal to null, it means we have tapped a notification. First we will print as notification background notification tapped, and here we'll be creating a navigator key, final navigator key. It will be a global key and it will have a return type of navigator state. We need to also use the navigator here. The navigator key will be the navigator key that we have created here. And now when we click on the notification, we want to send the user to the message page that we have recently created. So it will be navigatorKey.currentState dot pushNamed. The name of our route was message, and the arguments that we are passing was our message. The remote message that we are getting from here, we are passing it as an argument. We need to add a null check here. Now let's run our app on background. Let's copy our FSIM token. Here we need to click on duplicate. Just name the notification as sample notification 2. Here we'll use the sender text message option. Here we'll paste our FSIM token. Just copy the FSIM token and paste it here and click on test. You will find that we are receiving a notification here. Now when we are clicking on it, it's not doing anything. Let's just stop the app and run it again. Let's run the app on background and test the message. We are receiving a notification. When we are clicking on it, it's opening the your message option, and since we are not passing anything inside our payload, it's showing us this. But we can do one thing. Just inside our additional option, we can pass the data as like name or something key value pair that we are willing to pass, like value to true. Text as welcome. And now if we try to test this again, we are getting the notification instantly, and when we click it, we are getting the payload that we are passing, text as welcome and value as true. Now we can use this value as we want inside our app, but this was only for background. If we test this when our app is running in foreground, then we'll not be receiving any notification, but here we can see that broadcast received a message. It means that notification is coming, but it's not showing inside our foreground. So what we can do for that, now we can use our local notifications plugin to show the notification inside our foreground. So to use foreground notification, what we are going to do, we need to initialize local notification first. So we'll be using the code that we have discussed in our previous app. This was the initialization code. We'll just copy this, and inside our push notification, we'll create another function that will initialize. Just paste it. So it will initialize local notifications, and obviously we are going to be needing local notifications package. So just install Flutter local notifications. Now we need to import local notifications here, and we'll also be needing the local notifications plugin. And since we already have an init function, we cannot use this as init. Let's name it as local noti inits. Here we need Flutter local notification plugin and an on tap function. So we will be needing underscore Flutter local notifications. Let us just create a static final underscore Flutter local notification plugin. It will be Flutter local notification plugin. Need to also provide the return type here. Here we need to provide the on tap function when we click on local notification. So here let us write on tap local notification in foreground. Just simply create a static void local on notifications tab. We'll be navigating like our previous one, navigatorKey.currentState dot pushNamed message, and our arguments will be the form here. When we are tapping, will accept a notification response. Now here we are already passing an argument. If we check our message, then we'll find that we are already passing the data and we are reading it as remote message. it will give us a problem. So let us use pass notification response here, because both the return type is not same. We need to add a null check here. Now when we click on the local notification, it will open our new message page with the notification response that we pass. Now we need to also add a function to show a simple notification like our previous one. To show a simple notification, just copy this and paste it here. It will show a simple notification. Here we are passing the title, body, and the payload. Now let's quickly go to our main.tar. It was for a background. Now let's write a code to handle foreground notifications. We need to also call push notifications dot local notifications in it. It will initialize the local notifications. And then we'll use Firebase messaging dot on message dot listen. Here we'll be accepting, here we need to pass an event. For event, let us pass remote message. And here let us first print got a message in foreground. And like our previous one, if our message dot notification is not equal to null, it means that we have received some notification. So we'll use push notifications dot show simple notification. Here we need to pass the title, body, and payload. Our title was inside message dot notification dot android dot notification dot title, and body was inside message dot notification dot body. Add a null check here, and payload was inside message dot data. So the data is in form of map string dynamic. So what we can do to handle it, first let us just encode the data, payload data that we are getting here, make it a string payload data. It will be message dot data, but let's just use JSON dot encode message dot data, message dot data. And now we are converting the dynamic data. We are converting the map data to a string of payload data so that we can pass inside this payload. Now we can simply use payload data and save it. But one problem that we'll be facing is that here inside messages, we are passing the arguments as notification response. So we need to do a modification that it is also able to handle the notification response data. So for that, now let us keep the data as model route of settings.argument, and let's add some if else logic. Like first, let us declare a map of payload. It will be an empty map, and here if our data is of return type of remote message, then we'll convert the data, then we'll save our data inside the payload, and if our data is of return type of notification response, then also we'll be saving our data that we are receiving inside. But here we need to use JSON decode, because here payload is a type of map string comma dynamic. So payload is of map, so we need to convert that string to map. Now data dot payload, let's add a null check here. Now if our response, now the data that we're receiving, if it's of remote message, then we are handling the data, and if it's of notification response, then also we are handling the data. Now we need to simply use payload dot to string. Now we have completed. Let's test inside our foreground. Test notification 3. Let's send it to our local device. We are still not getting anything. I think that we need to stop the app and restart it again. Otherwise it will not work. Now let's try to send a message in foreground. Let's make it as test notification 3. Let's keep it as test notification 3. And now let's just test it inside our local device. You'll find we are getting a notification here. And now when we click on it, and now let's just test it inside our local device. You'll find we are getting a notification here. And now when we click on it, now we have completed the way of sending push notifications inside our app. Now generally you can store the FSIM token for a specific device during login, because after login your FSIM token will not change, and you can use and you can send specific notifications depending upon the FSIM tokens. And if you want to send notification to all your users, then use this option, like this one, important notification, and click on the target and schedule it for now. And you can pass some more payload like important. Okay. Now click on review, wait for some time. You will find notification will arrive. Also check our debug console. Now as you can see, our notification is arrived. Now when we are clicking on it, it is going to open our new message widget, and here it is also showing the payload that we are passing. So that's all for this video. Now I hope that it's clear how we can send background and foreground notifications in our Flutter app from Firebase. So that's all. Thank you.